2014. It's been quite a year, hasn't it? A jam-packed 365 days of a lot of good and a lot of bad. Today we're here to talk about the good. Quick disclaimer, one should note that being in the UK, we're still waiting on some of those bigger flicks being praised in America right now. So if you're wondering why Foxcatcher, Birdman, Big Hero 6, Whiplash or John Wick aren't in this video, it's because they're a good month away from being released here and I still have yet to see them. I suppose a more correct title for this isn't so much the best movies of 2014 as much as it is the best movies of 2014... that I saw. I've tried very hard to see as many as I could, and hopefully this list reflects that, but I am a human being and there was no way I was going to see all of them. I'm also not going to bother setting a bunch of rules as to what kind of films can be on here. It could be because I thought it was technically good, I personally enjoyed a certain element of it, whatever, it's my list and I can do what I want. Some of these I've already reviewed, some I have not. First off, the runner-ups. Now that that's all out of the way, let's get started. Number 10. Paddington. It honestly is amazing how different the finished product can turn out to be when its trailer was so goddamn awful. And yet, here I stand, telling you with complete relief that Paddington is not only better than its initial teaser made it out to be, it's legitimately great. What surprises me most about all of this is that in an age of X Factor Postman Pat, the filmmakers made the call to aim this property at an all-ages demographic. Besides having a lot more heart in its story and characters than most had anticipated, the movie is really funny, Hugh Bonneville in particular is hilarious as the dad that needs to loosen up, and Ben Whishaw as the voice of Paddington is utterly charming. Full of smart British humour, which is always the best, let's not kid ourselves, and a big dollop of heartfelt sincerity, Studio Canal have managed to usher in a flick which nails the character from the original books and brings him back into the mainframe for a new generation, arguably turning in one of the best family flicks of the year. Number 9. How to Train Your Dragon 2. How to Train Your Dragon 2 not only met my expectations, it surpassed them. It could be argued that the story is particularly simple and subdued, but it's damn moving all the same. John Powell turns in another great score, Hiccup solidifies himself as a hero to rally behind, and his coming of age arc feels both genuine and inspiring. I've already said some things about this one, but it's a grown-up movie with some beautiful art design and competent direction, willing to go slow and serious. DreamWorks, we are so close to getting another flawless animated trilogy. Nail round 3 and I won't have to say, yeah, it was a good series. You know, besides the really bad one. Number 8. The Edge of Tomorrow. Loosely based on the graphic novel titled All You Need Is Kill, Edge of Tomorrow sees Tom Cruise as a sleazy coward and Emily Blunt as a hard-ass team up to fight aliens in a Halo-style action blockbuster, with the selling point being that the day in war is on a loop Groundhog Day style every time he bites the dust. Here's proof that you can take one of those hokey big idea sci-fi premises and turn in a finished product which is just as good. Its video game mechanics whereby the characters learn off by heart where opponents and weapons will appear and where results in a believable arc for the protagonist, some humorous he died again moments, and a lot of well-executed gritty action along the way. There's also a surprising move made on behalf of the screenplay, by implying that the characters do this loop so many times that this new scene we're currently watching for the first time may not be the first time they themselves have done this. Cruise is the perfect guy they could have chosen for this role. If you like him, watch him kick ass for 2 hours. If you don't, well, enjoy him getting killed off every 5 minutes. And Emily Blunt rocks the badass female fighter role. I found this to be a great ride as a straight up action flick, but I was also thankful that when in doubt, if I'm arguing why it's good, I can always fall back on its brains. Number 7. Calvary. How's this for a premise? One day in a confession booth of a church in an Irish village, a priest is told that he has 1 week left to live before being murdered. That sounds like it'll result in a real downbeat of a film, and make no mistake, Calvary pulls no punches in its depressing tone, but it's one which only adds to its well-written screenplay. The cynicism of the characters and plot points which inhabit the village results in a potent and disturbing story. And thanks to some great writing, its heavy reliance on dialogue serves as a good character study, and Brendan Gleeson pulls in an Oscar-worthy performance. This is the story of a believer in a world that no longer believes, and by the time the moral message of conceding in others finally makes its way to the viewers, it's not till after a few tragic losses along the way. Number 6. Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of people seem to have a problem with the fact that I often resort to this term, probably because there's not too much elaboration required when used, but Guardians is by all intents and purposes a fun movie. There were some films this year that I wanted to see again, but none of them quite had the rewatch attraction of this one. What can I say that hasn't already been said by everyone? It's terrific that this made a lot of money at the box office. It's terrific that Marvel have pretty much proved that they can adapt anything to the big screen. It's terrific that Chris Pratt made this role his own. It's terrific that Rocket Raccoon and Groot are going to walk away as two of the most celebrated movie characters of the year. This was a refreshingly bold blast from start to finish, harkening back to the days of innovation in Hollywood, charging ahead with a brave attitude and a self-assured not taking itself too seriously tone. Not only does it flip off any studio claiming a certain kind of comic book character or element is too silly for the silver screen, but it's got characters worth investing in, a soundtrack which completely works in the story and has crept its way onto everyone's MP3 device over the last few months, and the same kind of infectious spirit of a university student partying after getting straight A's. If you didn't see Guardians of the Galaxy this year, you're kinda missing out. Number 5. Gong Girl. You know, trying to talk to someone about why Gong Girl is good without spoiling it is still frustrating because I still retain the idea that no one should go into it already knowing what's what. Heck, I couldn't even be delicate about it when I reviewed the thing, nor did I try to be. If you have an affinity for thrillers where every time you think you know where the narrative is going, it shocks you with a completely unexpected turn, this is for you. Gone Girl's theme stuck with me and creeped me the hell out. The score is brilliantly subtle, and Affleck and Pike are perfectly cast in their respective roles. Number 4. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. What's most relieving about The Winter Soldier is that they finally understood how to do this guy properly and were prepared to go 100% serious with his whole Boy Scout inspiring good guy leader thing that most superhero movies are afraid to dwell on. Sure, the first film also centered around Steve Rogers, but presenting him within a 007 style political spy thriller results in a fast moving action epic focusing on Captain America finally being made relevant again in this day and age, asking questions that should be asked. Why is he a figure to rally behind now that the war is over? Is the war truly over? Is the world any different? This is the Superman movie that DC never made, and having it be a strong self-sustaining movie in its own right rather than just another Marvel installment towards the next Avengers movie is a huge thumbs up. None of it is played for laughs, this completely makes up for the cutscenes from the first Avengers movie, Cap himself is more badass than he's ever been, and the quality of the film's fight scenes rival that of movies like The Raid. They really outdid themselves with this one. Everyone seems to be trying to do the Avengers right now, but Cap 2 proves that true success in superhero movies can simply lie within an interesting protagonist, compelling themes, and a good script. And I look forward to seeing Marvel take the character's ideology to its further extremes in Civil War. Number 3. Snowpiercer. A dystopian future premise where a failed attempt at stopping global warming results in what's left of the world being forced to live on a train going around in circles forever, with the adage of an incredibly blunt visual metaphor of rich people living in the front and the poor people living at the back? That sounds like the recipe for every failed teen novel adaptation I've seen in recent memory. And one of my big issues with these types of films is how all of the characters live in this obvious world with obvious villains, yet treat the whole situation delicately. Like seriously, Elizabeth Banks is sending you off to go and get killed for the rich people's entertainment and you're just going along with it? If there was ever a time to just drop the manners, punch her in the face and start an uprising, now's the time. Snowpiercer does exactly that. It's a relentless, unforgiving, brutal fight for survival serving as a meaningful, smart science fiction with disturbing implications, wrapped up and presented as a violent fist-pumping action fest. A Korean production based on a graphic novel, this is technically a 2013 movie, but it didn't make its way to the US in limited release form until this year. Does it have flaws? Sure, but at this point, when you're so invested in the characters and in what next big twist they're gonna throw in your face, they're just nitpicks. Chris Evans as Curtis shows that in playing a dirty, axe-yielding hobo seeking redemption, that there's no hero role that he can't do. Each member of the diverse cast adds higher stakes towards the front of the train, and its climax is as rewarding as the good guy's tendency to just say, you know what, sod it, they've been abusing and treating us like dirt for years, let's just f***ing kill them all. Number 2. The Grand Budapest Hotel. Wes Anderson once again provides a special kind of genre classic. Sure, I knew this would look great with all of the director's quirky characters and dollhouse-like symmetry fetishes intact, but that the actual movie is hugely entertaining and extremely funny as well is a big plus. Ralph Fiennes rocks the polite sassiness of Gustav, the movie's very rhythm and pacing hinges on great direction, and the fact that it goes as far as to say, I don't care if it's noticeable, if the sequence looks better in a different aspect ratio, I'm changing that aspect ratio, shows how far Anderson is willing to go to make his film as effective as possible. Grand Budapest Hotel is a hilarious rollercoaster ride full of wit and a quirky spirit of fun antics that it's impossible not to love. Number 1. The Lego Movie. And here it is. If someone had told me a year ago that the Lego Movie would not only be on this list, but take first place, I'd have called you insane. But this is one of the cleverest animated movies I've seen in a long time, and when rewatched, it becomes abundantly clear just how brave and intelligent the movie is willing to go with its narrative. Not only is it a really funny flick shooting for all of the gags you could think of and hope for, but the characters are memorable, the action is fun and creative, its unique take on the whole Chosen One hero arc is better than most of the ones in movies which are meant to be taken seriously, and the endless cameos of superheroes and movie icons serves as both a fun little bit for the fans, but also just another wink towards the viewers as to what's really going on in this universe. Even if the kids aren't quite there yet to understand the brains behind the finale, stick them in front of that screen and they'll positively relish in the gorgeous CG visuals which move around like a stop-motion Aardman production. This was a brilliant film, and the sequel has a Herculean task of being just as good, because the Lego Movie is my favourite film of 2014. See you all in round 2 for the other list. Cheers for watching, guys, and as always, if you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel.